And here we are in the territories of the Kwanlindun First Nation and the Ta'anquat'an Council. My name is Nicole Bauberger. I'm a member of the Yukon Artists at Work Gallery. I also curated the mini retrospective celebrating the 30th anniversary of Arts in the Park, a beloved art and music festival that takes place here in downtown Whitehorse. And what you're looking at right now is part of the mosaic mural that was designed and steered to completion and mostly made by Chris Sherbarth. The community took part in it. And this adorns the stage where so many people, from kids to act from away, perform music, dance, theater, all kinds of things. The direction I'm walking is actually the direction of the flow of the river as envisioned in the mural. The large salmon are swimming back upstream to spawn. And also here it says, "Thank you, Doreen." So Chris Sherbarth and Doreen Hildebrand envisioned this mural. Doreen passed away, unfortunately, in 2004, and so this mural became a memorial project for her. And I was down here actually doing a visual artist gig at Arts in the Park that involved asking people questions, and my friend Susan Walton and I, it's a collaborative project between the two of us, we treasure those questions and we transpose them onto a canvas that was over here on this mural by the artist whose name I'm forgetting, although I had in my research preparing for the show, I did Ali Koda made this mural, I think back as far as 2014, 2016, something like that. So one of the things you can use Facebook for is as an archive, at least you can right now, and the Arts in the Park Facebook page is searchable, so you can find it and then you can use the search function and you can find all kinds of interesting things. It goes back to 2011. I was here in the park, and one of the questions was, does anyone remember who founded Arts in the Park? And I was thinking, wouldn't it be great to do a group show over at Yukon Artists at Work as a celebration of the 30th anniversary. And we're going to Yukon Artists at Work right now because it's a very, very short walk. But first I wanted to give you a glimpse of the Captain Martin House. Now the Captain Martin House is where the Yukon Art Society used to make its home, and you will see an image of this, hopefully I don't get run over by anybody, of this building in the show that we're going to. Doreen Hildebrand was in the Yukon Art Society, and she was with all this great art, and she was thinking, how do I connect people with this art? She did all kinds of things. She did beautiful hand-lettered signs. She really worked hard. But then she had the idea, what I need to collaborate with musicians. And based on an interview with Grant Simpson, I learned that she approached Grant Simpson, but he was very busy coordinating the Frantic Follies. And so he put her in touch with Steve Slade. And Steve Slade and Doreen Hildebrand were the dynamic duo behind Arts in the Park and the co-founders of this beloved institution in Whitehorse. Now this is the Yukon Artists at Work Gallery, which is a gallery that exists because of the work of its member artists teaming up to make things happen, although we're really grateful to Music Yukon for opportunities like hosting this retrospective and other things that come up. So what we're kind of looking at is a sculpture by Suzanne Hauserman, which she made at Arts in the Park. Here's the title. I hand-lettered the show information in the window as an homage to Doreen. So what we can see, a little sculpture called, okay, internet connectivity in the north, here we go. But anyway, so this is Drunk on Berries by Janet Patterson. She made it in Arts in the Park, and she invited people to bring 5 objects, and she would put them together in an assemblage or bricolage kind of way to make a sculpture. And that's the back of a gorgeous little shadow puppet stage. Elena Warner is an artist who does lots of very cool stuff herself and also lots of really great kids programming. And one of her favorite things she did at Arts in the Park was shadow puppets. And that really allowed her to respond to what the music was doing. And that led to a collaboration with the band She at Theatre in the Bush later in the year. So that's Elena Warner's piece. So those are 3 pieces. I have 11 artists who I managed to inveigle into this Arts in the Park retrospective. So this is the show itself. Oh, you know what? We're going to do that approach again because I installed it deliberately right so that the doorway would frame this mosaic by Chris Sherbarth, who's the artist behind that gorgeous mosaic stage. She made this in Arts in the Park and she said to me that it's one of her most community participatory projects, aside from the mural projects she's done in schools with mosaic. There she is, way back in about 2002 at Arts in the Park, with people working on putting together the little spruce trees that are made out of tile, broken tile, to make this mosaic. Teresa Vandermeer Chassé made this gorgeous VW hubcap. This piece is called Sunflower. It was made in 2017 at Arts in the Park. And each of these little glass beads have been placed in here to turn, waste that she finds into something magical and beautiful. And here's a picture of her in the park working on that project. This is Conversations Then and Now by Scott Price. And as Scott was working on this piece in the park, a passerby told him that this big metal piece up in the top was the window mechanism for a Jeep, and he didn't know that before. And I think, for me, this is part of what makes Arts in the Park so important. It changes the character of the art scene in the Yukon. I moved up here from Ontario, and at that time, and I think it's still the case, buying original art is a bit of a weird thing to do in Ontario. Either you're very rich or you're, a bit wacky. It's normal to go buy a poster and get it framed to match your couch, but it's a bit weird to buy original art. But it's normal to buy, there's not a lot of $10,000 pieces that sell in the Yukon, but there are a lot of $50 to $400 pieces. And it's partly, I think, because of this sense of art being a communication. People have met artists, they've talked to artists, artists are accessible. Now, the only artist I included 2 pieces by was Janet Patterson, because she made this lovely piece called Howard the Hedgehog Dreams of Being a Busker. Vince Fedoroff, whom we'll meet soon, was a great friend of Howard Chimshin. I don't quite have his last name pronounced quite correctly, and it was spelled in a couple of different ways, but he was a frequent flyer at Arts in the Park, especially in the early days, often, almost always seen on Main Street playing his flutes and his saxophones. And some of his old saxophones, after he passed away, were unplayable, and Vince gave them to artists to make into artworks. And I like to think of this little Howard the Hedgehog playing to this audience of Michelle Melvin portraits. Michelle Melvin, in the late 2000s, was frequently seen at local arts festivals, and she would invite people to come and sit in front of her universal movement machine, which was an embroidery machine, and she'd use that to render their portraits. And her earnest, loving, careful observation is a potent metaphor for, the Arts in the Park made us visible and audible. It made us see, it gave us a place to see each other and really stitch together the art scene was a really important player in all that. So this is the Captain Martin house. I was so happy that Doreen Hildebrand's daughter, Holly, was able to find this original chalk pastel rendering of the Captain Martin house by Doreen Hildebrand. This is an interactive timeline where people can write memories on Post-it notes and add it to the 30 years of Arts in the Park. And this is one where people can say what qualities are at the heart of Arts in the Park: celebration, creativity shared, accessibility, food. I have this lovely passage by Annie Avery. She loves about Arts in the Park that all can attend. There's no class structure, financial limits, or exclusivity on who is included in the audience. This is unique, and all can apply, although there are selection guidelines. There's a very wide range of artists emerging and established. Now we're going to have a concert here on Thursday, June 18th. If you are in the territory, I sure hope you can come. So this is a mask called Grizzly Bear People by Dennis Shorty. He made it in 2018. And Dennis and his wife Jennifer Fruehling have performed as Denazagi at Arts in the Park on numerous occasions. And Dennis was one of our Arts in the Park people during our adapted COVID times when we had the visual art part here at Yukon Artists at Work. And I remember him being out in the yard and engaging so many passersby as he was making copper jewelry. But he and Jennifer are offering a year-long Casca mask making workshop that's accessible to everyone if you can get over to Ross River, which is kind of wonderful because it breaks down the everything being centered in Whitehorse thing. And this is, I wanted to feature this workshop right as part of the show because I feel like this is part of the way Jenny and Dennis are also building art scene and building community. Arts in the Park wouldn't function so well for making us so visible to each other if it weren't for the devoted photographers. And Vince Fedoroff made this collage of some of his thousands of images of Arts in the Park over the years. And yes, I want to honor him as an artist because his artistry, there's Steve Slade, his artistry in these matters made the performances live in our imaginations and memories. There's Doreen and that Chuck Bastel that's just over there. Inanda Images, aka Mark Prince, also took a lot of really glorious photographs, and it's one of his photographs that I used, that I insisted on being really the central part of this show poster. But he would do these panorama photographs where I'm not sure how he layered them, but he got everybody who performed in Arts in the Park into the photograph. And this is 2010, so what can we see here? When I was speaking with George Meritos from CBC, there he is. And there's Brian Fiddler. We did a performance with a youth group. They were called Jump the Shark. And he had some vivid memories of that too. Now, my list of the performers over the years was incomplete. I did my best through newspapers and then Facebook to write down all the musicians and theater artists and dancers and storytellers and poets and collaborations between those people who performed. And I just changed color of the dry erase marker I used every year and went around and around and around because I wanted to get that feeling of making art in the park with the music all around you. It's really a pretty special gig when you get to be inside your art and have the performance just all around you like that. And so I'm grateful. Oh, the other thing, if you come to the gallery, you can, well, I won't bother signing in right now, but you can select one of the concerts from 2020, which were recorded, and play it. So you can choose your own concert for your perusal of the show. I'm going to show you one more thing before I sign off. I guess that was just this past January. Sadly, Dee Bailey was one of our member artists who passed away a few years ago. and we were able to do a memorial exhibition, and her partner gave Yukon Artists at Work this portrait of the Yukon Artists at Work gallery that Dee made in oil-based modeling clay. And I feel like that connects to the image of Captain Martin House that Doreen Hildebrand made, and which is featured in the show. And I'm really grateful for the way we all together go on making an art scene. And it's good to remember how we've done it. Hope you get to see the show. It's up till the 27th of June. Hope to see you at some of the events. We also have an oil pastel workshop with Linda Leon based on the Arts in the Park demonstration in oil pastel where she was drawing the musicians several years ago. So I hope, anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Arts in the Park. Thank you, Music Yukon. Thank you, the Yukon Arts Fund. Thank you, the Kwanlundan First Nation and Ta'an Kwachan Council. Let's grow together towards good co-governance if possible. Bye.